The simplest way that you can get a zero gap your wall is by loosening up these two screws. The first thing you want to do is you loosen it slightly, but when you loosen up this screw and then you loosen up this screw, not too loose, this allows the blade to actually move. You see that? You actually moving the blade. Just loosen it up a little bit more. You actually can move the blade around. Now you turn the clipper around and you look at the blade, and then you try to zero gap it. You push it down, push it back, and then you lock this one down. Take a look at it. Take a look at it. Once you get it zero gapped and even, then you take and you lock down this one, you lock down this one, and then you take a look at your blade, and it should be nicely zero gapped. That's the easiest way. There are times where you might zero gap your blade and it still won't zero gap, no matter what you've done, no matter how you made the adjustment. So what you need to do now is try the second step, which is taking off the screws, taking your cover off. Now, this magnetic arm controls the movement of this blade. But if this magnetic arm drops down, this blade drops down. If you take this magnetic arm and raise it up, this blade raises up. Now if you want to zero gap this clipper, that means this blade needs to come up. So the only way you're going to get that done is by loosening up these two screws. Now, if normally this takes a Torx, but I'll tell you a secret. You can use an Allen key, but the size Allen key you need to use is 3 32s. So you take a 332 Allen key. Now remember, when you twist this clockwise, you loosen it. When you twist it counterclockwise, you tighten it. And that's what is different from what we normally know. Whenever you're dealing with this particular arm, remember to loosen, you go clockwise. To tighten, you go counterclockwise. Okay? So now we want to loosen it. So you loosen up the arm. Loosen up the arm. And because you want to zero gap this, you take a flathead screwdriver, put it right here, and notice what happened. It lifts up. And now look at the blade. Zero gap. See that? Zero gap because we lifted up this arm. We lifted this arm up, and this right here, the blade that's connected to that arm, comes up. Notice what happens when it might be, if it's too much, you take the blade, the arm, and you push it down. See what just happened? In fact, let's make sure it's nice and loose. We loosen it some more. And now, notice what happens. I push it down. Push it down. Now notice what happens when we lift it up. Now we lift it up. And you see zero gap. And then when you push it down, see that space there because we pushed it down. And now when we go, it's not zero gap. So that's the second way. So once you get it set and it's nice and zero gapped, now you want to take and tighten it back up. To tighten it, remember you use a 332 Allen key, and it goes in there locked. Now to tighten it, you go clockwise. And I know that sounds no, you hold it in place and you go clockwise. Counterclockwise to tighten it up. That tightens it. Counterclockwise tighten, clockwise loosens.